For the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
Hello and welcome to episode 88 of That's a Shame. I'm Isaac, coming at you live from Colindale, and I'm joined by the one, the only, Declan Delane. Give yourself a round of applause.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm glad that you decided in the end not to
I was
go
going
too
to go
avant-garde with the
Piste.
intro.
Yeah,
there.
I had all kinds of ideas.
Isaac said, like, okay, well, here we go, and then had his fingers hovering above the keyboard, ready to start recording, and then just stared wistfully off into the distance for a good minute.
Sometimes you've got to stare and you never know what might come back at you. Like last night when we were playing that pub quiz that got in the way of our recording. Sorry about that. That constitutes our entire apology.
Well done.
When we were asked how many people had won the Tour de France more than Chris Froome, who I've never heard of. And I gazed up wistfully at this tiny little window which looked like that one in The Shining that the little boy can escape through, but Shelley, whatever her name is, Shelley Duvall, cannot even.
No.
She can't get her knife on through properly. She's just withering away, and there's a big
She's what?
withering away.
Withering away?
A cross between a wave and a quiver.
Right.
And a shiver. It's a pretty specific
It's pretty
acting
efficient
technique.
language, that.
That's me, I'm efficient. What about how there's a big snowbank outside that goes right up to the window? That
The one
I
that's
found?
100% salt.
Yeah, oh, is it salt?
It's salt. Well, I mean, in the story, it's snow.
I
but
see.
in the real life, it's salt.
Wow, a bit behind the scenes there. But I always wondered why that was there and not at any of the other windows, because it is like absurdly high off the ground. It's like 30 feet or something.
Look, that's it. Deus Ex.
But no, but maybe what I'm saying is the Overlook Hotel wanted him to be able
Danny
to get through.
did it himself.
With his shinning.
Yeah.
Straight up there. Anyway, yeah, I was gazing at that window, and through it I just saw the number 4 float down, and it was right, wasn't it?
Well, that's slightly different to the story you told me last night, which was slightly less troublingly phrased, which was, I just was looking out that window and it came to me.
Yeah, well, I didn't have time to relay the full experience. but here
The
it is.
number floated down.
Yeah, but get this. It wasn't just the numeral. It was like the letters one at a time, like Star Wars
F.
coming towards you.
O,
Yeah.
U, and then you were like, well, it's probably not
5.
14.
Imagine if it was. I'd have been there for hours. 400 and... Yeah. Anyway, sorry about forgetting that episode. I mean, forgetting to record that episode.
Yeah.
This episode, that is.
But it was the closest that we've come to a lock-in ever.
Yeah, it was.
Because we didn't leave the pub until 2:15.
That's madness.
And it shuts at 11. So,
Wow. That's crazy.
so yeah, that was that.
It was all right, wasn't it?
We shared a
played
bottle of
pool.
wine that we won.
Yeah, it was all right, wasn't it? I
Wasn't
mean, I don't have any
worst.
context for wine.
Not really.
Do you remember what it's called? The headspace above wine that we learnt about in the summer
Ullage.
quiz. Yeah, what a problematic word.
Why is someone bothered?
Why does it
with
need
that?
to have a name?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like it's the kind of thing that's worth talking about.
No.
Ever. Least
It's
of all
like
now.
the Dylan Moran joke about kids asking questions.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, because they'll ask you all sorts of like normal questions. And then one will be, Daddy, what's the place underneath the kettle called?
Wow. What is it called? Does no one know?
No, he's like,
I'd call it the kettle dock.
The kettle dock?
Or the kettle port.
Kettle port, yeah.
Yeah, either of those. The
That
kettle
sounds like
jetty.
something from Star Wars. We got to make it to the kettle port.
I think that's what Han Solo flew, isn't it?
Yeah.
The kettle run, or something like that. Here's a sad thing you just reminded me of about kids asking questions. One of the students I've been teaching for about the third longest of all the students that I teach, he was this really...
About the third longest.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember that well.
Roughly, but specifically third.
Yeah, he's about between second and fourth.
Right, just somewhere in the middle there.
Inclusive.
Yeah.
What his demeanour was like was quite different from other little... He's like 11 or something, and he's quite mad. He does, like, has the thought patterns of a younger child in the vocabulary and intelligence of an older child.
Right.
So the first lesson we had, we did like the Jabberwocky, and he started writing this like dictionary of made up words like brillig and trying to just guess what it meant, and they were all just outlandish. He thought like Slithy Toves was probably some sort of like cake mix or something. It was really strange. I was just like looking at these definitions, like what's going on? Like what's in your brain? Anyway, he's always been really upbeat and erratic, and it's been quite fun teaching him. And then I found out last week that he was starting medication for ADHD, and now the little kid is depressed as fuck. It's sad. He's just
Really?
like a husk person.
Like fucking R.P. McMurphy when they give him that lobotomy at the end
really
of
sad.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah, there's just nothing. He's just like sort of listless and stares forwards and just like he's answering all the questions, probably a bit less madly than before, granted, but just no
is
energy.
there any real benefit?
Not that I've noticed,
No.
but I don't know. Maybe he was always going on about Slithy Toves in his day-to-day life.
I went tutoring today and I said went tutoring like it's
Made it sound like a
orienteering
kind of-
or
an
something.
errand that
Yeah.
you're doing in Victorian England.
And they'd cancelled the lesson last week.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got there, I was like, "Oh, hi, how you doing?" And the mum was like, "Oh, yeah, no, not bad." I was like, "How have you been?" And she went, "Not good."
Oh,
And I was
no.
like, "Oh God." And she went, "Yeah, sorry about last week. My brother died."
Oh,
And I was like, "Oh no, that is a shame."
shame you've let that get in the way of your kid's education.
Yeah.
Zing!
Make me a tea. But then she proceeded to spend the next 15 minutes telling me the whole story. But not in like a kind of,
Getting off her
depressed
chest.
need to talk, just in a very matter of fact sort of way. And like the kid was sat in the dining room ready to sort of learn and was almost like drumming his fingers. I got the impression
You're
that
ready,
she's
Mum.
told everyone
Everyone who's entered
the
the
whole
threshold.
story. Yeah.
The milkman.
Yeah,
The
they've
postman.
all heard it. They've all heard about his
it a-
lymphoma.
Oh, so it wasn't like a series of unfortunate catastrophes. It was just he died. It wasn't.
That's a more cumbersome name.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to plagiarise
No,
because
right, okay.
we're big on intellectual property rights here.
Yes.
That's a shame. Always have been, always will be. What about those people in Time Out using our dog photo?
Absolute cunt.
Repulsive.
That's our unlicensed,
Yeah.
rights-free
Look,
image
I
that we've
spent
used.
minutes finding that dog, and then even more minutes putting Comic Sans on its head. That's horrible. to
It
know.
looks really appallingly bare without
I
any
know
of
what
that
you
on it,
mean.
doesn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say we should link to it, but I don't want to give them any traffic credence or popularity at all. I might Mr. Pete out the name Time Out there as well. Just
To
for
Mr.
good-
Pete.
Might be. Might
They
have to
both
be.
time out. Oh,
Fuck! All right, I'm not doing it 3 times. This is bullshit.
no.
We've got a hell of a show coming up for you today.
Bloody hell,
It's
have
called our Great Big Apology Road Show because we've missed 2 recording sessions now. And I guess for me, that's just because I'm very much out of the swing of recording, not just actually the routine for this, but all routine in my life at the
Yeah.
moment. I've still not really recaptured any of it.
It's also partly due to the unfortunate scheduling that show release day is the same day as pub quiz day.
I know. If
And
only we
we're-
could change things like show release day, but we can't.
or recording time.
Yeah.
So we, we don't want to record before going because, we're swatting up.
Exactly. Too busy. We get our
And then-
science jackets on, don't
But
we?
we are fooling ourselves if we ever think we're going to do it afterwards.
Yes. It
So-
did seem optimistic.
So I think
Tuesday.
Tuesdays we're going to have to start recording.
Okay. Well, should we make
you
that
on
pledge
board?
now? Should we fist bump on it? 1, 2, 3,
Oh.
bump. That's fine. You
did a
you
double
bumped
bump.
on the one and the bump.
Yeah.
That's all right, though. That's fine. Here are some things you can expect from this show. We've got an email. Yeah, you heard it right.
An email.
Now
Electronic mail.
Yeah, well, it
Part
came...
of cyberspace, that is it?
Yep, that's the C I was looking for. That came winging its way into our inbox. I was, again, in Disney when it happened. Made for some entertaining reading on Splash Mountain. We've got Declan... Oh, God, Declan just shrunk 1.5 feet. Sounded like a lift imploding. We've got Declan's great big gift reveal. Now, when would you like to do that? Because we could do it now if you think it's going to buoy your
I
spirits.
think it will.
Yeah?
I think, yeah.
Okay, well, there's a bit of setup involved.
Okay.
You're going to have to leave the room. No, you're not. That's fine. But the context for this is as follows. There's a very specifically American phenomenon that you encounter in Disney World, but But also in other places, like at Obama's inauguration, the same sort of thing happened. Whenever there's like a group outing, Americans like to advertise that they're all part of the same family.
They do, yeah.
So you'll see these T-shirts that create like a unit. So what startles me about it is that they've all presumably come together to decide who's like the locum for the whole family, because the T-shirts will be like dad, mum, that's understandable, big brother, little brother, but then there'll be like cousin, and you just wonder why like cousin, if you shifted them, like they're someone's brother and mum or whatever, probably not both, but who knows.
Also, whose cousin?
Yeah,
The
exactly.
kid's cousin? The adult's cousin?
They're weird, like they're stuck between being really specific and also just nonsense.
Negligible.
I wonder with those as well, like why. That's what I wonder. Just
Yeah,
why?
well, that is a good question. I mean,
For whose benefit is it?
yeah, I don't need to know who you are, and if you get lost, the fact that
I'm cousin.
the fact that you're like niece, doesn't help me find the arm.
No, not really. So that's one genre. In fact, T-shirts, in general in America, they have a very different role, I think, to what they have over here. Because over here we just wear them to kind of
Clothes,
cover
really.
our shoulders from the sun's evil rays. But in America, it seems like if you're not advertising something, then that's just wasted real estate that you could have been
The same
using.
with cars, isn't it? They like
the
to do
bumper
that with the
stickers.
cars, yeah.
I guess it is the same basic impulse, because all over there were like fewer actually than last time I was there, but there you see it still like in big scare quotes, like from my cold dead hands, and then the front is like an eagle fucking a gun, and it's like Second Amendment, stuff like that. So there's a lot of like political ones like that.
Yeah.
A lot of just generic America's great, that sort of vibe. But then it being Disney World, you see a lot of like really cutesy ones, and indeed they sell a lot of these at the park, where it's like I'm her Mickey, I'm his Minnie, and they're like mouse ears, and they're normally little like couples holding hands.
This is our little mouselet.
Yeah, exactly, like walking around as a unit, and just they just want to tell the world like we're here, we're proud of our family, and we're not ashamed to dress up in the same way, despite it being objectively a poor sartorial choice.
Very.
So, what I've got for you is, in that vein, now it's based on an intellectual property that I know you're a fan of. So, without further ado, let me go over to my bag. You're going to have to close your eyes
I'm closing now.
while I just check that it's all in working order.
Right.
What I
Now,
like
is this
about this...
like just for me, or have you got one yourself?
This
is
is
for when we go out.
I'm glad you asked. It is just for you.
Good.
And for me, that's why it works. Because it is. Read out
Wow.
the T-shirt for the audience at home.
I think he's incredible.
So it's an Incredibles T-shirt, and normally it would be paired with I think she's incredible, and you'd walk together, and then it would make sense because they're contextually referring to each other.
Right.
But when you go out wearing I
This
think
with
he's
you?
incredible, no, with anyone, or indeed by yourself, I think it will confuse people.
When I go out with
so
my girlfriend,
markedly.
it's going to be amazing. The looks she'll get.
But it's just, I just enjoyed, it made me laugh in the shop, the idea of people
one
like double
person,
take and just be like, who? He thinks who's incredible? Like, it doesn't even make sense that it could be about Mr. Incredible.
Well, no, I think that's what you would assume.
Yeah,
like,
but then you'd be like-
I think he's incredible.
But you'd be like, well, you can say his name, like, it's not Voldemort. So it tickled me as a concept, and I thought,
good. Oh, well,
better
and
chuck
it's
it
my
into your
favourite
mouth.
colour, so that's good.
It is, isn't it? It's the Incredibles red. Incred, they call it.
Ooh, ink red.
Yeah, so I look forward to seeing you wearing that. Maybe you
gonna
can
wear
post a
it all
picture
the
of
time.
it
Of course I will.
on the
Of
old
course
Twitter.
I will.
At That's a Shamecast is the Twitter, isn't it?
Nicely done. Well done there.
So yeah, I haven't really talked about Disney World because, like I was saying before the show, there's just too much.
Depresses you.
Well, there's that element, certainly. And that is, it cannot be understated to the extent to which, you know, the real world just lacks the orchestration of Disney World.
Yeah.
There's very little in the way of, like, music from your favourite Disney films playing in the background. Very few random dance parties that just start in the street in front of you. You'll be walking somewhere and you're like, whoa. Suddenly it's like 18 perfectly choreographed, like, big-teethed Americans. Made them sound very upsetting.
Huge teeth.
Can't move for their teeth. But so there's that. But also because it's like such a sensory overload. Like you look at little kids walking into Main Street in the Magic Kingdom, and they just look like they're like buffering their brains.
Object permanence goes out the window.
Just when you're starting to get to grips with the world as well, if you're like 3, 2.5, 3, you've sort of understood how like humans work, what jobs are,
how many colours there
Daddy
are.
and Mummy go out to work and then come back and like to earn money so you can do things. And then all of a sudden there's a giant mouse like, running around, and like Pinocchio's there, but he's huge. It must be very confusing. It's kind of a testament to the adaptability of people, that you don't go mad seeing it at that age. Because if you were in that environment for like a week, that's long enough for a kid to be like, well, this is the world now. And then they get shoved out of it back into the normal world. And it's like, well, all of that's gone. Don't worry about why or where it's gone, but it's just the end.
Yep.
I think that must be quite confusing. It's confusing as an adult. So I can only imagine
Well, you say as an adult, but
what?
for you,
No, for all adults.
because
it confuses.
you aren't quite an adult,
What
are you?
do you mean?
You exist in some weird hinterland of age.
Like Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Why?
A bit like Peter Pan, yeah, but with a beard.
That's the sequel. It's like the opposite of even younger Sheldon. Even older Pete. He gets called Pete Pan. He works in like HR. Hey, Pete
Yeah,
Pan.
you're going to have to take these down to Pete.
Pete Pan? Pete Pan.
Pete Pan, PhD.
We could pitch that idea, I think. I mean, we'd be sued into the ground.
Yeah, but fuck it.
But for the few minutes that it existed in someone else's mind, it would be very much worth it. But yeah, there's so much weird stuff happening that it becomes impossible to keep track of. Like, I was for the first few days, like consciously being like, that's weird. I'll talk about that on the show. But those events just become so humdrum.
Every day.
Yeah, so quotidian.
By the end, you were doing them.
Yeah, oh God, I was up there on the Magic Castle flipping about with my big teeth. Me and Pete Pan didn't know what was going on. Let's think of some weird things. We had this odd waitress called Dubai. Now, you might think it's pronounced Debbie, but she's here to tell you that it's not.
Dubai.
It's Dubai.
Spell
Debi. Dubai.
Dubai.
And she was great. She was good fun. But she was sort of miscast in her role as a Disney cast member, because it was like a dinner service at a fairly nice restaurant.
Right.
And everyone's still like very upbeat and preppy and like, have a magical meal and all that stuff. And she was just she had the characteristics of someone who you might meet in like a diner in the Bronx or something.
Right.
She was just kind of no nonsense, a bit tired, just sort of explaining things. She was really funny, but quite acerbic. And at one point I went to the bathroom, came back, and she just sat in my seat for a bit. She just sat there like while everyone's eating, explaining like what life's like in New Jersey. And she told this story about how she came to work there, which was something, I might fudge the details a little because I can't remember, but it was something like she'd been doing some sort of very dull sounding job, and then one day just remembered that Disney existed, and she told her mum, she was like, I'm gonna go work there now. And she was like, Dubai, of course you're not gonna do that, we know you're trustworthy, you're gonna stay here and work it out for the family. And before she'd finished that sentence, she'd fucked right off to Florida and been there for like 300 years ever since. And she was telling us all this interesting information about how it is to work for the mouse, as they say, and about how your bosses are essentially subservient to robots that control every aspect of everything. Like your shifts are just immutably created by a robot that's like, this is the most efficient way for all these human droids to operate. There's like systems in place where I think she'd had like more days off than you're allowed for that year. And that just means that like there's nothing anyone can do. You just sort of go down a rank. It's like being in some weird hellish RPG. And it means that she's like not as senior as she should have been, or she like peaked at a high rank and is now falling back down because she's taking more time off. And she was like, yeah, there's nothing anyone can do about it. They're like, we know you, Dubai, you're a great worker, you get great feedback, but the robots do what they want. So she's like going ever down this cascading ladder into Mouse Hell.
That's
Strange, isn't it?
preposterous. That's horrid.
Yeah, it's really weird. And
Imagine being fired by a robot.
I think that's exactly what happens, as far as I know. Like, the robot is the arbiter of that decision. Like, obviously, if she punched a manager, they'd be like, well, you're off now. But
just
otherwise...
C-3PO, what do you reckon?
Oh, it's time for you to fuck off. I hate C-3PO, stupid bot. There's this thing called extra magic hours, which is where, like, if you're staying on property, their parks open earlier or later for, like, guests of the resort. So you can go on stuff that's got less of a queue and things like that. And it's always been a mystery. They give you, like, a printout of when the hours are going to be each day, because they're so strange. It'll be like Magic Kingdom 9:15 to 10:48 or something. It's normally like more round than that, but there's no consistency. And I asked about that, and they were like, "Yeah, absolutely, no one knows where they come from. They just appear in everyone's like pigeonholes, and we have to follow them." It's like, what do you mean? Like, who's pulling the strings? But no one knows. It's just total magic.
But what does that mean? How is that not something that's standardized?
Because it's a big
Does the
robot
park not open at the same time every day?
No, I mean, there are similarities. It's never going to be like opening at 3:00 or something. Like, they'll always open within a few hours.
Love the idea that the park opens, and then from 1:13 to 2:42, everyone else has to fuck off.
Vroom, push you straight off.
And your purple band just magnetizes you to the floor of you.
Yeah, it's great. But yeah, it's just another like algorithm that knows about with these magic bands, which are a very interesting concept. I will link to an article that Wired did about the project. It's like mad technology. They know it's used for your hotel room key.
So you should explain. It's like a purple wristband.
Yeah, it's just like, or you can have it in any colour. And there are also like limited edition ones that have like your favourite characters on them. There's Incredibles ones at the moment, because they just started their Incredibles.
I think
like,
they're incredible.
Event. They're pretty good. I think he's incredible. Don't worry about who, but he. They're your hotel key for your door, so it's like really secure key technology. It's also like your entry to the parks, your fast passes for everything when you're going on a ride. Your like, you can link it to a card and pay for like t-shirts and things. It's your meal plan. It's everything. But then it also can track you so specifically without having to do anything, like just passively. When you're in the parks, it can track you to the point that you're on like the Rock and Roller Coaster, which has like a 65-mile-an-hour launch, and you go on that ride, and a minute later you get a little ping in the app, and it's got your ride photo of exactly the vehicle that you're in, because it knows like down to the millimetre just where you are at all times. It's so dystopic, but great. I just love the balance. So yeah, turns out that most of it's run by machines, and I guess that's the way it's going to have to be. But they're in a weird position where, while the machines run all that stuff, they still have to have so many people smiling at you all day, or you forget that you're in Disney World. It's a nice balance, I think. It's the ideal. If robots are going to take over, at least let them be behind the scenes.
Yeah, I think it would kill me to work there. It killed me to work at a normal theme park where you were allowed to be miserable.
Oh yeah, you definitely do have to be upbeat. But I think I've known a few people who work there. I was going to work there myself. I was going to apply once a while ago. And everyone's like, yeah, the money's bad. The hours can be, depending on what sort of job you get. If you're like on attractions or something, the hours can be mental, because they regularly have like after hours stuff. People rent out the park for events and things. But people they have like one of the highest job satisfaction ratings ever, and they are the largest employer, like single site employer in the world, maybe, certainly in the US. So they're doing something right, and I think it must just be like, it's that thing of people bonding through the mild trauma of...
Oh yeah, you definitely do.
Yeah, but they all do seem very upbeat all the time. Like, you just don't expect people to be able to maintain that much of a facade at their entire job.
I'm sickened and suspicious of anyone who can.
It's interesting. Even the people who are like in custodial, like just going around cleaning a bathroom, they take time out to start like drawing Mickey Mouses on the floor with their mops and stuff. Just, they don't have to. No one's telling them to. Just because the magic is infectious.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's Disney World for you. There are all sorts of weird things. Let me think of another one. For example, there's this big ride called Country Bear Jamboree, and it's one of the classic
Based on
attractions. Based on nothing, as most of those rides weren't based on anything. So, like in Magic Kingdom, no rides. Hang on, let me check if this is true. I think all the rides that aren't like exclusively like the Peter Pan journey, they're all supposed to be their own things. You're not supposed to have like film rides in there. That's supposed to be in Hollywood Studios. But there's this, it's one of the original shows that Walt Disney was involved in at Disneyland. And it's, picture this. So you go into a dark sort of woodland hut cabin kind of vibe. And there's a stage. And on the wall are mounted these 3 like moose heads that at the drop of a hat will come to life and have preposterously deep voices and southern accents, start sort of like moving around like this sort of thing, like they're trying to sort of break off, and talking about the show we're about to watch, Country Bear Jamboree. Now, when I say Jamboree, what sort of vibe do you feel?
I'm thinking, the start of Mary Poppins, where Bert is playing all the instruments at once. I'm thinking Bear's doing that.
You've fucking nailed it. Yeah, so, Big Dick Van Bear. What happens is the first time we went to see it, we had no idea of what it was at all, and it never has a wait time because it's like a show with quite a big auditorium. So you just go in, go out. There's like, it just cycles through people, and what happens is you sit in this dark room, and the stage like opens, the curtains open, and then up from the like below stage area comes this, let's be honest, hideous animatronic freak playing an organ, and it's all these bears that just sing like different country songs. But what they've done really well is that they've made, because that's obviously frightening, but they've managed to make each different act a different kind of frightening. And that's admirable. There's one of them is the hugest bear you've ever seen. He's like built like a sphere, with this really weird like hangdog expression, like the Scream mask, and he comes out with this like untuned banjo sort of thing and sings a song that goes, blood on the saddle and blood all around, and it's just terror.
Why?
It's
Why
so
does he
strange.
sing that song?
No one
What's it
knows.
about? What's it for?
It's hard to say, really, any of these things. And then there's a bear that's like trying to be sexy, and that's a bit disconcerting.
What?
It's like, oh, she's on like a swing.
Do you
with
think
a
they
tiny
know
little
this
skirt.
is still happening?
The robot won't let anyone look.
No.
It just shuts the door if any cast member would go. It's very strange. Like, I love all that stuff because it's...
Imagine if you were just sat having dinner. Dubai is bringing over your...
Dubai's sat next to us.
your diet
boozing it
Pepsi.
up.
She's got her feet up
She
on the
won't
table.
stop.
And you're like, yeah, we went to see Country Bear Jamboree or whatever the fuck it's called. And she's like, Country
What? Buri?
Bear...
Yeah, Country Bear
Jamboree.
Jamboree in Frontierland. Magic Kingdom, Dubai.
Wait. That was open?
That's been dead for 50 years. The bears went mad. You heard of Five Nights at Freddy's. It does have that vibe.
He didn't sing Blood on the Saddle. He's coming for you.
They also terrifyingly have, because they're characters no one knows. I think there's a film of Country Bear Jamboree that's no one's heard of.
Ever seen.
Or hopefully ever will see. But every so often you'll come out of it and one of the bears will be there because they have like people dressed as them walking around. And they aren't any less scary.
No, well, more, I would presume.
One time we came out of that ride.
Don't call it a ride.
Yeah, you're right.
no, don't
Attraction.
No.
Trauma.
Horror.
Yeah. And
Ordeal.
Yeah, that's the one. A very tall man who was working there was sort of standing like 50 yards in front of us, just screamed and then started doing, I'm going to do the action and I need you to explain for the listeners what it is. Fuck, I just threw my phone. He started doing this.
Oh,
But,
it's like...
preposterously high legs.
It's like a
a
sort
big
of
spider.
Goofy meets Dick Van Dyke-esque.
Yeah.
It's like Goofy doing the old bamboo for Jitty Bang Bang.
Horrifying idea. So he was doing that and just sort of like screaming at himself like, woo, you go, boy, and stuff like this. And everyone was like looking like, what the fuck's going on? Did he flip? And then out of nowhere, one of those bears, accompanied by about 50 people, just descended, and it became this horror, like very strange sort of flash mob dance party of all these people doing like high-legged country bear dancing.
No.
It's odd, isn't it? Because ordinarily that would just be frightening, but something about that context, it pushes like every day is so surreal that your parameters for what's to be expected, you just like, by the end of it, you're walking past like, oh look,
There he is.
there's that creepy bear again singing about blood on the saddle.
It reminded me this animatronic bear show, that great line in...
Sorry, I'm just getting my phone.
That's all right,
I'm
dear.
back.
That great line in Modern Family where they're going to Disney World and they're talking to Jay, the dad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, maybe Dad will cry in the Hall of Presidents again just because Lincoln's there. and he goes, hey, he was a great president. And that was the first robot I ever saw.
That's great.
The idea of that being a tear-jerking moment.
Oh my God, these robos.
This is the future.
I went on a like backstage tour. You can see the lanyard for it there. There was like a 7 or 8 hour like intensive mad day. You get like driven around in a coach, different places.
Right.
You go all like behind the scenes under the Magic Kingdom. Because do you know about this fact?
No.
The whole Magic Kingdom is built on the first floor of a structure. There's underneath this thing called the Utilidor, utility corridor, smashed together, which is how they like travel around through it. So you don't see someone who works in Frontierland dressed as like a cowboy dicking about in like Fantasyland where Gaston lives.
That's such a next to unnecessary dedication to that character.
It's a major...
Imagine going like, in the meeting before that going, well, sadly we've looked at it and we can't arrange the different lands so that they're kind of arranged around a central point. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. So, we are just going to have cowboys coming through the Magic Kingdom just to get to the back. And someone going, what if we built the whole world again, but underneath?
Like Brave New World sort of vibe.
That's just
mad.
mad.
It's one of like Walt's big things was that he would never allow, like if you saw the wrong, it's all like show is one of their 4 keys of what the quality is based on. And seeing like the Mickey that walks around, like tomorrow, no, I don't think they have one in Tomorrowland, but like the Mickey that walks around Frontierland, who's like vaguely cowboyish. If he was ever anywhere else, he was like, kids will never believe in him again. So he was just crazy about it. They're so strict about it that even on those sorts of tours, if you ask how many Mickeys are there, they'll say, what do you mean? There's only one Mickey. Obviously, there's only one Mickey. Like, what the fuck are you on about? Here's some facts I've learned, because I can't remember what I was about to say, but I'll come back to it.
You're doing this backstage tour?
Yeah, I can't remember where I was going with it. But
You're in the Utilidor?
Yeah, who knows?
Oh,
but
well.
Here's another fact. Tinkerbell, her, the little yellow fairy.
I remember.
She's got a green dress. She can fly. She can. Pixie dust all over your head, that one. In the castle show, or the fireworks show, which is currently called Happily Ever After, it's very good. There's a kind of you can fly moment where Tinkerbell emerges, a real Tinkerbell, and like flies quite a long way, like out of the castle and off into Tomorrowland. It's like some distance.
And what they did was they auditioned until they found someone who could fly.
It's mad. And they said, you can fly. Wow. Wasted talent on this. Someone said that. Go for it. But the way it works is just so incredibly... It like sums up the difference between on stage and off stage in any like theatre ever because of how crude it is. They get like the smallest person they can find. It's normally like a maximum 5 foot girl. Yeah. Normally like a dancer, so they're really like lithe. And she has to climb up the castle every night through some like weird bit
gantries and ladders.
Yeah, like probably very dangerous interior. Yeah. So it's not that big by the top. It just looks huge. Yeah. Because of all the force perspective. She goes up there with conversely the burliest man they can encounter that evening. They look around, spying for the biggest guy. And he goes up and she harnesses on, this is a spoiler, guys, onto a wire because it isn't it's not actually.
No,
she's not
she
real.
can actually. That's
She
just
can,
for
but this
safety.
is for safety. Yeah.
That's actually because people wouldn't believe it
Yeah. Well,
if there weren't a wire.
they don't. The world's not ready to have that reveal yet. Is
No.
it? She gets harnessed onto it, and then they wait there as the show goes on. And they wait for the moment, and then what he does is he picks her up and goes, "Fuck off!" and just lobs her as hard as possible down this zip line. And it happens every so often because of like weather, like if it's particularly windy, or if they just get something a bit wrong, or if she's like not being optimally aerodynamic and like moves a bit, that she will get kind of stuck, at which point, like in order to continue the show, she has to just like hand over hand miles of this thing. But her hands, I think they're like not visible or something, like maybe she has gloves or something, but you can't see her doing it, but she has to do it the whole way over to the restaurant roof that she eventually lands on, which is like well out of sight. It's just such a mad job.
Incredible.
Imagine doing that every day, just being like, oh god, here we go.
What amazes me most about that is that they have built the entire world again beneath the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
But then their answer to this is, we get some fat fuck to lob Tinkerbell on a wire. And like, that's it. That's as optimised as it's ever going to be.
Can't fix.
That's less technology than the bloody roller coaster restaurant at Alton Towers.
That was an amazing restaurant. They haven't got anything quite like the roller coaster restaurant. There's no things.
They've missed a
flying
trick.
around. Yeah, so that's a particularly. I do like all the like secretly low tech things going on in a show that's otherwise just like the most money being spent on anything. Like the amount of fireworks they let off, I don't even know how much that costs. It's baffling. Another similar thing is that in Epcot they have this big what's it called, like the World Showcase Lagoon. The World Showcase is where all the pavilions are from different countries, and you like drink around them. And in the middle of the lagoon there, they do a show called Illuminations, the central piece of which is this big globe on a barge, and the culmination of it kind of lights up, and it has like screens on it with the different countries, and all music and fireworks are going on. The culmination is that the globe like opens up like some sort of freakish egg, and there's a big fiery like pillar in it from which more fireworks come, and it's all mad. And the way it's operated is that there are two people just in a bunker below it driving this barge like through all this firework. and that's one, so they drive it off into the middle of the lake, and then they just have to kind of sit there for like however long the show is, maybe 20 minutes or something, just living their lives under a lake, under like a 5-ton ball of just flames for the whole show. And she was like, yeah, they've got like an office down there, there's a bathroom. It's just very odd.
Good Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
just on the
great.
Twitter.
What a strange life you must lead. Though,
Yeah,
just doing
that's
that
so
every day.
odd. That's like a kind of waiting for a parody of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead,
Oh,
but
that'd be
just
great.
those guys driving the barge of fire.
That'd be very good. I'd watch that any day you like. So yeah, that's Disney. I'll recount more things as they come to me.
I do
over
like
the weeks.
those places. What I like is the gambles that they sometimes have to take that mostly, but not always, pay off. Because I remember when we went to Universal Studios in Los Angeles, that, you know, they've got the ET ride, which is like phenomenal, where you're on like the bikes.
The bicycle one, yeah.
And, you know, they've got Back to the Future experience. They've got that amazing Jurassic Park waterfall.
Log flume thing.
And then they have the backdraft
Oh, I know.
walkthrough experience, and it's this enormous building that takes you through and shows you how they did all the cool, like very impressive
All
fire
the scenes
effects
from the film you've never
from
seen.
Backdraft, but no one in the world has ever watched
No,
it.
I didn't. And there's another one about Twister. Have you ever seen?
Yeah.
There's like
Twister is at least like moderately more known.
yeah.
But
I've seen that in
only
geography.
only because of A, geography lessons, I think, and B, it was one of the 3 films that ITV2 owned, along with Shaun of the
yeah.
Dead.
Did I own Shaun of the Dead? I
Yeah.
didn't see that every day for 6 to 7 years.
So yeah, it's just amazing that they've gone, well, I mean, we've built it now.
Yeah, it's a mad
staying.
idea. Like the amount of planning that must go into it, where they're just like, guys, we're still certain Backdraft's going to be, you know, it's the one, isn't it? It's the next big thing. Like, yeah, mate, it's going to be huge. It's got fire.
I hope that they like wait, hoping it's going to have a kind of weird renaissance, that it'll become cult, and then like just knock it down one day, and then a week later,
Someone rediscovers it.
Yeah, and
Roger Ebert's Ghost.
Yeah.
Gives it 100
I
stars.
was going to say Roger Ebert's Ghost as well coming
must
back.
be true then.
Well, that's it.
Yeah, they do weird things like that. There's lots of... Because Disney opened Pandora, the world of Avatar, in Animal Kingdom. And, like, I don't know a single person who has any real opinion about Avatar at all.
No.
At the time, there was a lot of, like... Everyone I knew kind of hated it, but only because it was so overhyped. And everyone was like, oh my God, it's made the most money ever. But now it just sort of sits there in the... It's all right. It's good if you want to watch some blue guys fucking with their tails for a bit.
What I like about the Pandora thing especially is that like they opened it because he's planning on making more films, and it's been like 8 years. It's been nearly a decade now, and there's still no sign of this. Even the second one
to at all, unless it's going to be like the most incredible technology that he's been working on for all these years, where it just is like a blue man next to you. In the cinema.
Did you see him talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe being like, I think most people are getting Avengers fatigue. Like, there are new stories to be told. Then someone just puts that next to the article, James Cameron planning Avatars 2 through 5.
Goodness.
Imagine saying that.
Yeah, that is bold and wrong.
Very wrong.
But the Pandora world's great and everyone loves it. It's been like incredibly successful.
It looks phenomenal.
It's mad. Like, no one... It's weird that you can take a property that is such a source of ambivalence. Like, there is no one alive who is a huge Avatar fan.
No,
I'm certain. Even James Cameron must be like, yeah, it's all right. It's no Terminator. But the world, like the queues there were just mad. We got there about 1 second after the park had opened, and the queue was going across about 18 different paths with like people having to put ropes between sections of it to keep it going. It's mad. But it was, the ride is mad. So good.
Is it on the flying?
Yeah, the Banshee.
Yeah.
The Banshee boys. As you can feel the Banshees like breathing beneath you as you ride it.
That's
You
not.
can feel its heart beating.
That is absolute drivel.
It was
that shouldn't
mad.
be the case.
What a world. What a Disney world. So I'll be going back any day now, I expect. Yeah? Is that right?
Yeah, soon.
Yeah, exactly.
Soon.
To be continued. We've got an email. Shall I read it?
Go for it.
It's called Unfunny People, Would You Rathers, and an Excellent Joke. And it's from none other than M. Pratton. Don't know if we've ever gave her surname before, but there you go. To Mr. Delane and Mr. Bermana Delane. Now, let's take a pause. Because I saw that. You know how you get like a notification and it tells you a little bit of the email. I saw that and I was so close to doing the old swipe to delete. Straight away, just out of fury.
What about, we were playing one of our many Jackbox games yesterday.
I remember those.
And there was a really fun filing level. We'll leave to your imaginations.
Yeah.
But you have to do things in alphabetical order. And one of the file names was Isaac with 2 S's.
Why have they done that? It's just it's not our name. Why would you do this? It's silly.
Just to annoy you.
Very, very sad. What a hilarious joke I have made there, using your names incorrectly. Perhaps I should join a comedy sock or club also. Very much enjoyed the bad joke reading of episode 83. And by enjoyed, I think I mean somehow found joy in, despite barely being able to tolerate it. That seems fair. That was what? Mr. Darkley's joke shop.
Yeah, was it?
Nice, well remembered me. As for reasons why unfunny people seem to be the ones who attend awful social clubs for comedy, I had 2 thoughts. One was that perhaps it's the same lack of social skills, self-awareness, or general understanding of real-life human people that makes this person not very funny, and it is these same skills, which is a nice euphemism, skills, that lead them to believe that such institutions are worthy of their time or will help them be funny. The other theory I had was that the reason these people seek out comedy elsewhere is because they don't have it in their lives anyway, specifically because they are unfunny people. If they had the joy that comes from being able to make other people laugh, perhaps they would not seek this joy elsewhere. Already funny people have comedy in their lives, whereas perhaps unfunny people don't to the same degree, and therefore want to hit the laughing clubs for a taste. Not sure if that's too simplistic or general, and sorry if I've offended any of your unfunny listeners, but these were the thoughts that occurred while I was listening. I think interesting.
very good. Yeah, I think
the
both
second
spot on.
one's not something I thought of before. Either.
No, the idea of them not having comedy in their
Must be
lives.
very dull being that, like, the common link between all unfunny interactions and, like,
Hmm.
realising that's you.
It's odd, though, because I don't think most of them realise that.
Is it sadder that they do or that they never would?
Well, it's sadder from an outside perspective,
Hmm.
but probably it's better for them.
Because if they
Because they're not
realised-
depressed about it.
Yeah, that would be crushing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But do you think they just come home every so often being
Should we
like,
let them know?
everyone else was laughing a lot more in that restaurant than anyone near us? Oh well, wonder what that was. It's been a while since I emailed. Just wanted to say congratulations again on the anniversary. It was an honour and a privilege to take part in Isaac's gift, much like it always is being a shame citizen. Highlights for me from recent weeks include Roger's inability to converse. What's that?
That was our
that role
our role play
about his
the conversation starters.
Oh dear. Every film slowly turning into Shrek, and Sean Penn's awful book. Awful. Have been regularly engaging in Womibomb and consider myself its true champion. So there you go.
Wow,
Take
quite the
that.
title.
Some would you rathers to enjoy. So there are, how many here? 4, and Declan is keen for us to pick this one in particular. So we'll maybe come back to some of the
Yeah,
others.
shall I read it out?
okay.
Because it's aimed at you.
Okay.
We've
You'll be answering it as well.
we've changed. We've like turned the tables here.
yeah, I don't like
The question. No, I know. Well, we've spoken about that before, haven't we? So, Isaac,
Yep.
would you rather sit and eat 5 sugary jam donuts without cutlery, or be forced to watch someone else sit and eat the same donuts without cutlery? You can't wipe your hands or face until they're all gone, and neither can this other person.
Can I wipe their face?
Definitely
think I'd
not.
want to.
No.
I've got a clarifying question. When we say sugary, now, you know that
We don't mean the dusty sugar.
it's not powdered.
It's not powdered,
fuck.
no.
So is it like a like
granulated?
Is it like when it's been a bit warm as well and it's kind of mildly congealed?
Yeah.
So
well,
part of it
course.
is almost syrupy.
Yeah.
And that is a very unpleasant hand feel, isn't it? The syrup.
Yeah, because
And
you get the
mouthfeel.
proper stick,
Because if it gets like round your mouth, you can feel it like
and
creasing.
you're not allowed to lick.
What?
Not allowed to lick the lips.
No, that wasn't in the
That's,
rules.
that's what it means by you're not allowed to
Do you
clean,
call?
clean your mouth.
Do you think when people say I'm going to go and wash my face, they just go and lick their whole face? That's
Like a cartoon, like Scooby Doo, like getting rid of all this cream on his
That's
face.
disgusting. Well, I guess it's going to come down to it's 2 different types of discomfort, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rooted, of course, in the same place. I feel like when I'm being forced to watch them, like talk to me about that setup.
Well, I mean, we've got different levels
Yeah.
to that. So, I mean, level 1 is it's your mum.
Right.
You go watch your mum do it.
It doesn't actually matter to me who it is, I don't think.
I think it might.
Really?
Well, level like 3 was
Is
going
it
to be.
Sondheim?
Mr. Pete.
That's a Mr. Pete.
And level 5, Sondheim.
Sondheim getting all jam donuts
Yeah.
on his face.
But he's
Talking about
really
cats.
he's really enjoying it. He's like, anyone who doesn't eat them like this is a psychopath.
And it can be a fan of mine.
Yeah.
Don't listen to Sweeney Todd. I wrote Sweeney Todd covered in jam.
He's actually deliberately
Right.
getting sugar and like
getting off
jam
on it,
on
yeah.
him. Yeah.
So it's one of those
To annoy
like,
you.
like the
We have a lot of references to Sondheim being covered in food.
do we?
Do you remember there was one
Don't
when
say
were
we
talking
like
about
it's me.
No, it was.
Oh no.
Where we were talking about the like ideal dinner party.
Oh yeah.
And we were talking about him ended up playing a piano covered in dried soup.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Sorry, Steve. I am a
And now
fan,
he's
promise.
covered in jam.
God, you can't
soup
get enough,
all over
can
the
he?
place.
A big food freak.
Yeah.
For me, it's less about who it is and more about like the scenario I'm in.
Okay, so
Am I just in like a cafe and there's someone in the corner?
no, it's like this has been set up.
So
Like we are now. There's
this
a
kind of
table in the
proximity,
centre.
a few feet apart.
Yeah.
Am I strapped into anything?
You've had your eyelids cut off.
Oh,
you can't look away. You
no. Well,
can't
that's a
close
bit
your
much.
eyes. Okay, we
Clockwork
haven't been-
Orange.
Yeah,
They're like pinned.
They're like yeah,
Fuck.
open. You've got to watch.
What if I get any sugar granules in the eye?
That's the risk you've
What am I
got to
supposed
take.
to do? Just watery tear them out?
No, that you won't get any.
Have I got protective goggles?
No, but you just won't.
Is it loud?
Well, of course it's loud. Of course you can hear it.
That's horrible, because what I don't like about this is there are so many different... It's not like the
There's so
consistency.
many sounds.
Yeah.
It's like someone eating crisps. You know what you're getting.
You could just black that out after a while, because here you've got the sugary crystal layer.
Yeah.
The bread could be all manner of different sounds could emerge
Yeah.
from that dough. And then the jam is where it's going to go.
Exactly.
Because it's quite a thick, viscous...
And what keeps happening is that they're holding it, and you know how there's always one side where you know the jam's gone in.
Yeah.
So you come to that bit, like you either go in first and risk the rest of it being a dry donut, or you go for the other side. What they do is they've got that hole on the side where their hand is. So when they bite
it's oozing.
it just oozes into the gaps between their fingers and like down the back. Yeah.
That's sick. I'd rather watch Country Bear Jamboree so many times. Jamboree.
Oh, or you have to eat them yourself. No cutlery.
What are the rules about me eating? Because I just like shovel this in and like be done with it really quickly. I mean, I don't feel like I probably physically could.
No,
'cause
5
I'm not a very
donuts.
fast eater.
No, you're not.
Can I take breaks between
You'd
it?
be worrying about choking.
Oh God, I would.
Yeah.
I mean, we always are, aren't we?
Yeah.
All us.
Normies.
Us.
What do you mean by breaks? Like, could you eat 10 minutes?
Can I eat one, then go and like wash up, then come back for 2?
No. The point is all 5 consecutively. Oh, fuck off with you. After one, can I
Can I
wash
choose
up?
where I am? Can I be in a sauna, for example,
What?
where the
why would
steam
you?
is going to clean me as I eat?
That's going to make for some very soggy donuts.
That's
though.
all right. I'm not doing it for pleasure. I'm doing it to get it over with.
But that's an added displeasure.
Yeah, but I think in the same way that we were just saying, like being immersed in Disney changes your parameters. I think being immersed in hot steam.
I can't think of a worse food to eat in a sauna than a donut.
Well,
it's
that candy
so
floss.
heavy.
Checkmate.
That'd be much
It'll
easier.
dissolve into nothing.
Yeah, well, that's why it's easy.
This could be hard then.
Oh, it's gone.
Oh, well, yeah, I suppose that is a kind of eating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, how about if I... Do I get a drink with it? Because if so...
No,
Oh,
you don't.
why?
You don't, but you are never thirsty.
Right.
Because if I give you the drink, you'll just cheat. You're like, clean your lips
I'll
a
start
bit.
drinking recreationally
Yeah.
to just get a bit of a
Just
lip clean.
throw a bit on you. Oh, God, like the drinking problem in airplane.
Do I get any warning when it's going to happen? Is it because I could choose like an attire? I would probably shave.
You do it
before.
nude.
And when I say shave, I mean
The
everything.
whole body.
I'd be going full slag.
Vaseline
Yeah.
up like you're swimming
Yeah,
the
to
channel.
keep it all off. That's a
No,
good
it would
idea.
stick to it.
Yeah, but there'd be a protective layer of Vaseline between me and the...
But think about this: when
the
you
donut.
opened your mouth,
Yeah,
the
go on.
Vaseline would like press up, and then like the sugar and the Vaseline stick to your nose. And,
Yeah,
like,
then
in
you
the
just give it one
in
of
the
those.
nostril. You're going to sniff petroleum jelly doused
Do it
in
anyway.
sugar.
Let's call that Thursday.
Wow, that's a great way to get you one of them sinus infections everyone's talking about. Do you know when it's going to be? It will never be like a sensitive moment.
Right.
It's not like Isaac.
was in the shower.
It's grandma. It's not good news.
Yeah.
And then
Zing! Fuck!
you sit down.
Just like 5 donuts on a big game show, like crosses above it, like The Voice.
Yeah, it's completely black, but a spotlight on you.
Can I...
You know it will be within a 3-day range.
Okay. For the eating itself, I think I do lean towards doing it myself.
Okay.
But I'm kind of assuming I'm going to be able to be quite granular about the eating control. Because what my plan is, I'll share my plan with you. I
Okay.
realise it might be a bad idea because you may just
I will
change it to make it impossible.
In the fashion of Isaac himself,
God.
I'll be changing the rules
This
as
taste
we
of the own
go.
medicine thing is not a big good fan. What I'm going to do is sacrifice old righty, as I call this chap over here.
Right.
Because,
That's his right hand.
yeah.
For those
He's
listening.
not like a friend of mine.
I'm going to sacrifice already.
Off you go, boy.
This is what we train for.
So I'm going to sacrifice. This is going to be the only donut hand I'm going to keep left so far
Right.
out of it. Probably I'll be doing that thing where you make a painful fist to take your mind off things.
Okay.
Like, you know, when you're in the dentist and they're stabbing you in the gum and you go, oh, make a big pain fist.
I feel like the less detail you give, the less incriminating it is for you. So just keep going.
I love being stabbed in the gum at the dentist.
I know you do. And that is where I was hoping you weren't going to go.
Tell you what I don't like, roof of the mouth. Now that's a pain.
What about the optician's puff of air on
I
the
haven't
eyeball?
had it. Look, I've got this here. Free eye
yeah.
test voucher. I bet
Oh, yeah,
it's
we were gonna go,
expired
weren't
by
we?
now. Doesn't say it's expired. 30th of June. Okay, we're going to go.
We're going, yeah.
Because is it nice, this puff of air on the eyeball?
I don't mind it.
Because I get a puff of air on the eyeball all the time when I'm out in the wild.
What do you mean?
Just the wind.
That's not a puff of air.
Well, it is. It's the
Mate.
puff of air.
That's
a big
how
jet
it used to
stream.
be known in ancient Greece.
It's a puff of air.
No, but it's a localized.
Right, and how forceful is it? Like a wind tunnel for
It's
the
like
eyeball?
it's like
And tell me what they're checking.
it's about
How
the
annoying it
pressure of your eyeball.
Okay. What?
like,
so do they
within-
watch if it like
it
bulges?
flattens, yeah.
That's repellent. A flat eyeball. No one needs
No,
that.
but only in the sense that like when you hit a tennis ball, you don't notice it's flattening.
Well, I
but
do.
it is.
I do know, and I'll
I
feel.
know
it,
you
bet.
know,
That's
but that
foul.
doesn't mean that you see it.
Oh,
It's
I don't
your own
understand
eye.
it.
You can't see your own eye.
You can't, maybe. I can see a bit of my eye.
I love that you looked over to the side. You can't see any of your eye.
Look, I don't want to argue about
You
this.
you cannot see your eye.
No, I agree that you can't. But what about that fact that I tell you every so often, every few months, about
Right.
how if you've had the same lens in your eye for more than
Right.
like 2 minutes, there's a noticeable sepia effect. Because there's someone I know who got like one lens replaced, and for a while before they got the other one replaced, if you did like close one eye and close the other, it was like looking at vintage photography. So now, as I look at you and you look at me, we're seeing like some fucking fucked up vintage sepia old man eye congealed skin cells thing.
Right,
That's horrible.
but you do like the dentist.
Yeah, I'm alright with the dentist.
So you've sacrificed old righty.
Yeah, so old righty is going to be what the
Young lefties behind the back.
Yeah, firmly out of harm's way. And I think probably I'd adopt a whole kind of sideways on stance just to keep as much of me out of harm's way as possible. I'm going to go for the chop and roll. So you start with the chop, and then it's a question of scrunching up. You know how you make bread into bread cubes every so often?
Why does everything you say come with a revelation about who you are?
Everyone does this.
What do
okay?
you mean make bread cubes?
Everyone peels off the crust, eats that first, get it out of the way. Then you take a hunk of bread, you fashion
You're
it
a monster.
between fingers into a dense little bread cube. And then
For
you-
what purpose?
Just recreational fun. And it's a new way to experience bread, isn't
So you're going to karate chop a donut in half
And then bread cube
with
it.
one hand make it into a
it?
cube.
Well, this is a very dexterous hand, don't forget, because it's my melody hand.
right.
So it can do all sorts when it comes to the bread cubing.
And what's happening with the jam then?
Well, the jam is going to be scooped out with this kind of motion.
It's going
And
everywhere.
it's not. It's going very specifically. I'm folding it into the
How
palm.
precise is this karate chop?
Well, I'll practice it in advance because you said I get to know when it's going to be.
Yeah, within a 3-day
range.
bracket.
Yes, I'll be practicing in the shower probably.
But it could be the first day. It could be immediately.
Oh. Well, I'm going to start practicing now then.
Okay.
I guess, just in case. But I'm scooping out the jam into the palm crevice.
Mm-hmm.
Giving it, you know that thing you do where you make an owl sound? Like a whatever
Yeah.
owl sound like. I'm doing that and then suck up the jam like poison from a wound.
Right.
Like insects from the floor.
Yeah.
So that's the jam disposed with, and that's really the messiest part, isn't it? Because then
Of
you
the
just
sugar.
you just get a few like palm licks, like a dog. And you're
Right.
done.
But so now after one,
Yep.
the hand is sticky. Like it's when you go to like unfold, it's not quite coming.
Oh, I know.
and you've got like sugar in between the fingers.
Oh,
like
I don't know
like
about that.
sand at the beach.
I think I would have got rid of it. I would have.
But when you
like
lick
a
it,
cat.
that makes it sticky.
No, because if you salivate enough, if you just do that thing where you chew to make
Right,
saliva.
and eating bread is a great way to
You said I'd
salivate.
never be thirsty.
Didn't say that you'd always be salivating though.
So I'm going to have a dry mouth throughout all
No,
this.
you're not going to have a dry mouth, but you're just not going to
Not
have
the dampest
excess.
mouth.
You're not going to have excess saliva to be licking yourself
Well, if
clean.
I've got enough time, I can generate, you know me, I can generate all the saliva I need.
Don't say you know me, like I sit here and watch you drain
whole
yourself into a
cupful.
spittoon.
Yeah, I think I'm going with that. Does that sound reasonable?
Well, I mean, I'll accept it
Good.
as an answer, but I'll be honest. I think that your hubris is shameful.
Why?
You wouldn't last half a donut.
You're joking.
You do the first chop and you'd throw up.
And then I'd have to eat that as well.
Yeah. You could
throw
use
up,
the bread
don't.
to soak.
Don't say things like that. Don't ever come up with you could
You
use
said-
the bread to soak.
You said you were going to suck jam out of the palm crevice. So I can say what I want.
Well, I think that's another great would you rather solved, ladies and gentlemen. As ever, if you have a would you rather that you'd like us to tangle with in the most literal sense, or the least literal, depending on which way you look at it,
Yeah, we can do figurative.
tat@shame.city, put WYR in the title, or just hashtag TASWYR. That's cumbersome.
Why not?
Taswar. Yeah, I think that's going to catch on in a big way. Of course, email is there not only for you would you rather clan, as I believe you consider yourselves, but for any queries, feedback, concerns, thoughts that you might have. tat@shame.city or the contact form on shame.city, which you should be visiting anyway for your regular artwork fix. They're the places to go. Declan, where else can people go?
Well, they can go to the old Twitter sphere,
Oh, I remember that guy.
the Twitter droid,
Yeah.
the
Big
Twitter
fan.
world, the Twitterverse, and get in touch there. The show can be found at That's a Shamecast. Head over there anyway. Lots of apologies over there to enjoy.
you
And
like
pictures
grovelling.
of shameful, flatulent, shredding garments.
Dreadful.
Hashtag fart10.
Don't say that. I'm Mr. Peting that out.
You can find Isaac at IsaacBD or myself at Cynical Declan. If you head to shame.city/review or reviews, you can give us a nice 5-star evaluation.
Thank you, friend.
Otherwise, if you have $1, a cent, or even several dollars, several cents, several hundred cents to chuck our way, then please do consider heading over to patreon.com/shamecity.
Yes.
Beyond that, be like Emily, be like Noah, be like other super conts, and whammy bomb the fuck out of it.
Yes.
Word of mouth, as we all know by now, is the best of mouth.
It sure is, pal. From me, Isaac, and from you.
Declan,
We'll see you next time.
goodbye.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you. Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder, my new home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you.